Hello BookTube, hello friends, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and I want to do a tag video today. I don't even remember when I did a tag video last. It's been a while, and I really do enjoy the mid-year freakout tag, although I think it's misnamed. I don't really see this as being a tag where you want to freak out at the questions until maybe you get to the very last question, which is, what do I still need to read this year? You know, that can kind of freak you out when you think about everything you still want to read for the year. But I really do enjoy watching this tag. It's a lot of fun to see what people's highs and lows are for the year so far and what they're most looking forward to during the second part of the year. Of course, I know I am a little late getting this done. Most people who are going to do it have already done it, but I don't like to do it before July 1st. I want to be able to include the entire first 6 months, you know, everything I've read up through June 30th. I want to include as, you know, for consideration in my best and worst and all of that. And then you guys know, if you've been watching me, that I went on a trip from July 4th to the 10th. And since I've been back, I have been trying to catch up with book haul videos and just everything under the sun. So I am just now getting to this, and here it is. I will put the original creators in the description box below and refer you back to the original video. I don't even know, this tag has been going around for a long time, and let's just get started. So the first question is the best book you've read so far this year. Hands down, it is a book that I first heard recommended on Anne Bogle's podcast, What Should I Read Next? And I have a library copy here. I would love to find my own copy. I would love to reread it. I did a buddy read of this with my friend Donna from Paradonna Palimpsest, and we both absolutely loved it. I've been trying to get my book club to read it, but unfortunately there are not enough copies in our county system to be able to have a copy for everyone, and so it's probably not ever going to happen. But I'm so glad that I read it because it's fantastic. The book is These Is My Words by Nancy Turner. It's the diary of Sarah Agnes Prine from 1881 to 1901, Arizona Territories. The novel is by Nancy E. Turner, and I think this is loosely based on some of her family history, although I'm pretty sure that she took what she got and embellished it into a novel, but it's written in a diary format, and it's just so good. It's happy, it's sad, it's heart-wrenching, it's just a beautiful story. It starts out with Sarah as a young lady with her parents moving to a new territory, and she starts a diary, and it goes on through her life for the next 20 years, and it's just so good. I highly recommend it. It is the beginning of a trilogy. I happen to have the second one checked out right now from the library. All three of these are on Hoopla on audio, and the ebook of the first book is on Scribd. So there are a couple of different ways that you could read it if you want to get the book electronically. But Sarah's Quilt is book 2, and then the third book is called The Star Garden. I think that Donna and I are going to try to buddy read this very soon. I'm going to try to squeeze it in before the end of July, and she may not get to it till August. Either way, we're going to chat about it, and I know that we're going to love it. The next question is the best sequel that you've read so far. Well, I've narrowed it down to 2, and they are on two ends of the spectrum. One of them is definitely a feel-good book. It is book 4 in the Penderwick series called Penderwicks in Spring. I love this whole series. It's just wonderful. I have only one book left to read, and I'm just not rushing to read it because I really want to savor it. It's such a beautiful series. I have talked about it before, and Penderwicks in Spring is really, really good. Then the other one is a dystopian, and it is by Margaret Atwood. It's The Testaments. It is the sequel to Handmaid's Tale, and I really loved it. I listened to it on audio, and I just thought it was really good. I don't even think you would have to have read The Handmaid's Tale to read Testaments, but I think you should. If you like dystopian books at all, then this is definitely one not to be missed, and I thought it was really well done and very good, and such a good long-awaited sequel to a really good book. The next question is, what is a new release that you have not read yet? Well, this book came out in the first half of the year, and I bought it right at the end of June, And so at the beginning of July, I had not read it, although early in July, I did read it. So I still think I can count it since I didn't read it in the first half of the year. The book is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. It's the prequel story to The Hunger Games. And like I said, I have read it now, but as of July 1st, I had not. So I think I can count this one. Number 4 is, what is your most anticipated new release for the second half of the year? I don't pay a lot of attention to new releases. Let me just say, I have 4 top authors that I want to read everything by. And I'm pretty well caught up with 3 of them. And of those 3, 2 of them don't have books that come out every year, but they do have books coming out this year. So I am very, very excited. One of them is Fanny Flagg. She's got a sequel coming out to Fried Green Tomatoes. It's called Wonder Boy of Whistlestop. It's coming out just before my birthday, so I've already alerted my family to that fact, and I will be reminding them as it gets closer to late October that this book will be coming out. The other author that is a favorite that has a book coming out later this year is Donna Van Leer. I believe this is going to be another book in the Christmas Hope series. It's called The Christmas Table, and I devoured that whole series a couple of Christmases ago. I even led a read-along of it, so several of you read some of those, and it's such a fantastic series that I cannot wait till that book comes out. Then my other top author that I love, love, love that I don't think has a book coming out this year is Jan Karon. I have read just about everything she's ever written. I think the only thing I have not read is the cookbook and the Treasury, which is just excerpts of the other books. And I think I would be absolutely over the moon if Jan Karon also had a book coming out this year as well. So I think these 2 books are about all I can handle. And if you're curious to know who the other author is, I said there were 4. The other one is Anne B. Ross, who writes the Miss Julia series. And the Miss Julia books come out generally every April. And that is a series that's on my list to catch up with this year. So I'll be talking more about that when I get to the last question. Question number 5 is, what is your biggest disappointment? Now, you can look at this a couple of different ways. You could answer it and say, what is the book that I disliked the most? Or you could look at it as a book you expected to like or love and you didn't. So I have a couple of different books that I think about in this category. One of them is actually a series I'm going to read another one of this week for the Reading Rush. But my husband and I saw the TV show first and then picked up the books. And I enjoy both, but the books were a little bit of a disappointment because the character personalities are a little bit different, not as much to my taste as in the TV show. The series is the Longmire series by Craig Johnson. I have book 3 here, which is called Kindness Goes Unpunished. And I'm still going to read some of these, but there's a lot more foul language in the books than I recall in the TV show. So that made it a bit of a disappointment for me. The character of Vic is just too mouthy in the book, much more than in the show. Some people would find that humorous, and like I said, it's just not to my taste. And the other one is a book that I really did like. I just didn't love it. It left something to be desired, and a couple of things were included that I didn't like seeing there. And that is Caroline by Sarah Miller. I read this in February for the Little House Readathon, and of course I am a huge Laura Ingalls Wilder fan. I want to read everything by her and about her. I think I have read everything by her except for a few of her magazine articles, but this is a book about her mother, or at least I thought it was going to be. I thought it was what I thought and hoped that it was going to be more of an embellishment about Caroline's young life. And really what it was the first 2 or 3 Little House books, but told from Caroline's perspective. And I know that story pretty well, so it was just sort of rehashing things that I already knew. I almost wish that the author had taken a little more artistic license and given us something different, something new. I don't know, maybe just embellished and made up some things that could have happened. I don't know. I don't know if that's what I wish either, but there was just something about it that I didn't love. Also, we saw a little more of the intimacy between Caroline and Charles, and that was just a little bit cringy. I just didn't think that was necessary. And I think most fans of Little House are going to be fans of books that are more closed-door romances. So it just didn't feel like it needed to be there. So I didn't hate the book. I really enjoyed it. I just didn't love it like I wanted to. The next question is, what was your biggest surprise of the year? Well, I have to say, I think it's a middle grade book, and I read it because it was on the Sunshine State list for last school year, and honestly, it was the title that scared me off a little bit, and I saved it till almost the end of the list because I was a little bit unsure about whether I would like it, and I ended up really enjoying it. The book is Playing Atari with Saddam Hussein by Jennifer Roy and Ali Fadil. This is Ali's story of growing up in Iraq and his experiences in the war on Kuwait. And I just thought it was very well told. It's such a good book. I really enjoyed it. I lived through the 90s, but I was a young adult starting a career, and I just wasn't really paying very close attention to what was happening in the world, and I should have been. And so now I have learned more about that part of history, and I think it was a really good book. The next one is to tell your favorite new author, either a debut author or an author that's new to you. Well, neither of these authors are new, but they are fairly new to me, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading what I read by both of them. One of them is Dusty Bowling, who writes middle grade books, and I actually first read a book by her in 2019, but I didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy her writing until I recently read her Avon Green series. Right now there are 2 books in that series, and I loved both of them. I talked about them in my June wrap-up. One of them is called The Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus, and the second one is The Momentous Events in the Life of a Cactus. This is about a young girl with no arms, and she has a best friend who has Tourette's, and it's so well done and so well told that you would almost think that Dusty Bowling must be that person, because you feel like she knows exactly how this girl is feeling. And I don't know what her experience is with anyone with any kind of physical disability, and so I don't know how true to life it is. I don't know what research she did before writing these books. I just know that I thoroughly enjoyed the book. It made me much more aware of what people might be going through when they are just trying to get through life with a physical disability, and I just thought it was very well done. The other author is a cozy mystery author who has more than one cozy mystery series out there, but I had never read any of them until I read State of the Onion. The author is Julie Heisey. This is the first book in the White House Chef mystery series, and I absolutely loved it. This has moved to the top of my cozy mystery favorites list, and I'm excited to read more of the series. I own the first 6, and I know that I'm going to enjoy all of the books in this series, and I hope that I'm going to enjoy other books in other series by her as well. Number 8 is your newest fictional crush. Well, I haven't had a fictional crush in a couple of years, and before that, I don't think I'd had one in a long time, but I will go ahead and mention my most recent fictional crush, which was in 2018 when I read A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. The next question is, who is your newest favorite literary character? And I would have to go back to my favorite book of the year so far and say Sarah Agnes Prine, who is the main character in These Is My Words. I absolutely love this book, and she is a fantastic character. Very strong and just amazing. Question number 10 is name a book that made you cry, and question number 11 is name a book that made you happy. I'm going to show you the same book for both because I don't know that I actually read a book that made me cry. But in my review of this book, I said that it made me laugh till I cried. This is The Watsons Go to Birmingham, 1963. It's by Christopher Paul Curtis, and this book was fantastic. This is probably my favorite middle grade book of the year. If not my favorite, definitely near the top of the list. I highly recommend it. It is set in 1963 about a family and just all of the things that go on in this family with 3 kids, a mom and a dad, and their trip to Birmingham and their grandma, and it's just great. So I would highly recommend that you read it. It's also a Newbery Honor book from the 90s, and I loved it. Number 12 is Name the Most Beautiful Book That You Bought. Well, it's funny because I almost didn't buy this one. I was at a library book sale in February, and it was a fill-a-bag sale. I think fill-a-bag for $3. And I had crammed my bag full, and I was getting close to having looked at everything, and I ran across this book, and I thought, oh, this is so beautiful. I don't know if I can pass this up. But I have several books by this author already, and I have not read a single one of them. And I don't even know if I'm going to like this author. So I didn't get it at first. I didn't put it in my bag. I kept going. I kept looking. And so when I finally got through the whole sale, I was packing up my bag, making sure I could fit everything in, and I said, okay, if there's enough room in my bag by the time I get in everything else that I really want to buy, I think I will put it in the bag. And so I did. The book is Kiss Carlo by Adriana Trigiani. I have her whole Big Cherry Holler, Big Stone Gap series that looks really good. I've heard really good things about her, but I have not read anything by her. But look at this book. Not only is the woman on the cover beautiful with a beautiful dress, the roses, oh my goodness, this is just beautiful in every way. I am so glad that I bought this and can have it on my shelf, and one of these days I hope to get around to reading it, and I hope that it's a good book. But for now, I'm just happy having this beautiful cover. So this last question is really the only one where you might want to freak out. The question is, what do you still have left to read for the rest of the year? So you might think that since I have read 200 books already for this year, that I might not have that many left to read. You would be wrong. I am in the last 6 months now of a 3-year challenge that I call my 20 by 20 challenge. It's basically a stacking the series challenge that I started that ran from 2018 to 2020, and I gave myself 3 years to read from 20 stacks of books. I'm doing really good on some stacks, and I'm doing really bad on a few stacks, and a few stacks I'm somewhere in between. So I'm obviously not going to get everything read that I put on those 20 stacks, but I have made some really good progress. So I've started thinking, okay, now where do I really want to put my focus for these last 6 months? So one of the stacks is to read the series of unfortunate events. I think I'm going to be able to accomplish that. I am currently this month about to read book 8, which is The Hostile Hospital. If I keep on the track that I've been going on, which is 1 book a month, I will finish by December. So that's good. Then I have a stack of 14 cozy mystery series, and I said that I wanted to at least read something from each of those 14 series during this 3-year period. So I have now read from 12 of those. Some of them I'm caught up with, some I'm completely done with, and 2 of them I have not read anything in during this whole 3 years. So if I don't read any other cozy mysteries, these are the 2 that I need to read this year. One of them is book 2 in the Southern Sewing Circle Mysteries by Elizabeth Lynn Casey. It's called Death Threads. And one of them is the 4th book in the Fresh Baked Mysteries by Olivia J. Washburn called Killer Crab Cakes. So these 2, these are my cozy mysteries that I need to read before the end of the year. So I think what I'm going to have to do is focus mainly on the series that I want to finish so that I can still work to finish as many series as possible. One series that I started years ago that I only have 2 left in now is the Left Behind series. The next one I need to read is Glorious Appearing, and then there's one more after that. That's a series by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. Another series that I need to finish is the Kingdom Keeper series by Ridley Pearson. I'm down to the last book in the first original series. There is a spin-off series, and I want to read those at some point, but if I can just get this last book read, and maybe book 7.5, which is kind of a segue book into the other series, I don't know, we'll see. I think I would be happy if I could just get this one done. It's a big chunker, and it's on Scribd, on audio. This is The Insider, and it's book 7 in the Kingdom Keeper series. Another one is the Harmony series by Philip Gulley. I'm currently reading book 4 right now, and there are 2 more after this, so if I put my mind to it, I think I could finish this one by the end of the year. And then another series I won't finish, but I do want to at least get this last non-Christmas book read in the Cape Light series by Thomas Kincaid and Catherine Spencer, so that during the Christmas season I can read book 5 and possibly book 6 of the series, because after this all the books in the series are Christmas themed. So then my goal is to continue to read 1 or 2 of the Christmas books each year going forward. So my goal for sure is to get this one read before Christmas. And then a series that I would love to catch up with is one of my top 4 favorite authors, Anne B. Ross. She writes the Miss Julia series, and I am happy to say that I just this month listened to a Miss Julia book. I had not listened to a Miss Julia book in probably the 3 years since I started this project. So now I am ready for book 16, Etta Mae's Worst Bad Luck Day, and there are still several more in the series, but I'm happy to report that Scribd has a lot of these on audio. So now that I have found them and have access to the audio, I should be able to get closer at least to being caught up with the series by the end of the year. I may not still completely catch up, but maybe by the time the newest one comes out next April, I can be ready for it. A trilogy that I put on my list to read is the Candlewood trilogy by Delia Parr, and my sister and I started buddy reading this. I am now on book 2. She's already finished this one and loved it, so I want to finish this one, and I also want to get book 3 read so that I can check that trilogy off my list before the end of the year as well. And of course I have lots more books on my list that I would love to read. Those are the main ones that I think I can for sure finish. I also want to read all the rest of my book club books by the end of the year. I have a couple of review books that I need to read and things like that. So I definitely have enough reading to keep myself busy through the end of the year. Also, I want to read some more books from my TBR jar. I am right now finishing the last book from the last group of books I drew out of my TBR jar. So I will be doing a video very soon where I draw out some more. And so again, those are books that I will want to read by the end of the year. So that's about all I have for the mid-year freakout tag. If you have done this tag and I have not watched it or commented to it, be sure you comment down below and let me know that it's out there, and I will be sure to come and watch it, and we'll chat about whatever you have been reading as well. Meanwhile, leave me a comment down below if you want to chat about any of these books that I've talked about. And that's all for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.